What's up, Jacob? Good to see you, buddy. So how's everybody doing today? Happy Tuesday, everyone. I don't think that's a thing. Oh yeah. We're growing the beard out, guys. Oh man. Having a good night, man. So far so good. Busy day at the office. But I'm chilling now. Music seems a little bit loud. Is that better, guys? There we go. How is music volume? Is it too low? Or is that good? I always check. You guys would think I would have this in the right mode at this point. No, not Teja. Not Teja. Last I checked, I'm a white guy. Not that that's the only difference. Teja's a fashionable guy. He wears all sorts of cool t-shirts and stuff. Pretty basic when it comes to that myself. I think I've got Teja beat on the sneaker game though. What's up, DQ? I see you in chat, dude. Most toxic guy in my chat. Should mod DQ one night. Let him ban everybody. All right, so yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. We have got a cool build tonight. I will let me see here. Do I have this on? Okay, that is on. Sweet. I turned the autofocus on my overhead camera finally. I just hadn't turned that on in a while. Let's see, is it working? There's that. Seems to be missing focus on the, oh, there it goes. Seems to be missing focus on the keyboard there for a second. Seems to be doing better now. All right. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, there we go. Thanks for the follow. I appreciate that. Thanks, Vertex. Very nice of you. All right. So yeah, let me, oh, Azarez, thank you very much for the subscription too, man. There we go. Appreciate that. How's it going, buddy? I don't see it studying. Is anyone else getting stuttering on the stream tonight? Testing out my angles real quick. I think it's okay. I don't seem to be lagging much. Kelly, if you're in chat, I am going to be building this with your Gateron inks tonight, if I'm not mistaken. We're using a carbon fiber plate for this build tonight. That'll be pretty cool, yeah? I haven't built on carbon in quite some time. Oh, nice, Ezra's. That's what I'm talking about, dude. Did I introduce you to Polyphia, or did you know about them from before? All right, so without further ado, let me show off what we're building tonight, guys. Ooh. And then here's the fingerprint magnet. Oh, look at how Look at how shiny that is. It's crazy. See my camera. It's crazy, yeah? Look. It's nuts. Why are we hunting for focus? There we go. So yeah, we're building a very cool board tonight. The polycarbonate Salamander. This is actually a part 2 for this build, guys. If you remember, we had started this build and I didn't pay attention. The last time we started this, we didn't actually have a PCB that worked. We had Alps PCBs for some Holy Panda switches. We've still got the Holy Pandas. We've got Gateron inks as well that are in stock now. I'm actually building 2 builds for this client. And so, as I mentioned, we're gonna do the Gateron inks first. If I can find them. Hold on one second. Here they are. There we go. Yeah, here we go. Inks. Yeah, Azuris, I'm a big fan of Polyphia though. I like them. They're kind of like a cool laid back progressive metal. I'm really excited because Jason Richardson just came out on Instagram the other day and said that he was going to be working on his new solo album here soon. Oh, drop test for the 122 would kill the top of the case. We are not doing any drop tests on a 122 or the Salamander or anything else in between. So, all right. Yeah. Yep, I like them as well. I do not, Jacob. I'm not a vintage guy, really. I use vintage switches a lot, but I don't have any vintage. I don't have any vintage keyboards. Speaking of. Okay. No, I had an SSK for a while, but I don't have that anymore. I got rid of my SSK. So yeah, let's go here, guys. I want to go ahead and get rolling with this. So I've already done a couple of things here for the build. I have tested the I've tested the PCB already. PCB is compatible and working. These are the new prototype PCBs from Heine. So these are brand new, fresh off the press. Yeah, LEDs and everything all looking good. I've also got stabilizers pre-tuned for this. So again, if you remember, I had begun this build already once before. And so I had done all of my stabilizer tuning for it. Why do I feel like my camera angle is a little off? And so, yeah, so these are all lubed up. I'm just gonna give them a visual inspection, make sure they all look good. Lubricant looks pretty even on them all. Okay, that one's not lubed. Okay, I think we have all of the ones we lubed identified, and we only need 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, yep, we got everything lubed. Um, I would hope not, Kelly. I think we're gonna be doing good, man. What's up, dude? I see you in chat. How you doing, man? The Gateron ink looks so good too. This is the first round too. I've been curious, Kelly. When you were modding these, did you have any issues with the stems? We're working with the Gateron ink switches, Albert, Jacob. So I've heard instances of people saying that the stems, the leaves in these, have a tendency of shifting. I haven't gone through each and every one of these switches yet, but I'm hoping we don't have any issues with that tonight. No, yeah, I didn't mean to say the stems, the leaves. And so subsequently, like the pins, right? Is it the pins? Is it the one that the pins attach to? The secondary one, the smaller little guy? Like, is it this one that has a tendency of coming out? Is it the small little stem there? Yeah, no, I'm just curious though about it myself though at this point, because I'm gonna be tuning up a batch of these for a build myself here within the next couple of days. I think I'm gonna be tuning up some Gateron inks for a unicorn build that I've got on the horizon. The pins will slide up. Both have moved, but generally the larger one. Okay, interesting. I mean, I feel like it's one of those things that if you just keep an eye on it, you probably won't run into an issue. Would you agree? Oh, this is interesting. Interesting. Hold on. I'm curious about something now. It looks like the stabilizer inserts for Heine's board allow you to do... It's bidirectional placement on the stabilizers. So you can put the wire down or the wire up. That's actually pretty cool. I think we'll go this way on the spacebar. Let me just take a look and see what I normally do. Stabilizers down for the spacebar actually. So we'll go like this for the spacebar. There we go. And then we will do... Actually, let me screw this in first. Best advice is to give the pins a tug when opening them. Okay. You'll be fine if you go one by one, but I like to open them all at once, which is where the issues get really prominent. Yeah, if you're speeding through it too quickly, sounds like you might have some problems. Alright, good to know. Yeah, hopefully we won't run into an issue here. Let's see here. Where is... Yeah, I'm excited to try them out, though. I'm really curious. We'll see what they feel like here tonight. What'd you lube these up with, Kelly? Was it 205? I feel like the answer to that's going to be 205. This is getting in my way. There we go. Move that a little bit higher. This universal stab arrangement is interesting. This is the first PCB I think I've ever seen with that. We'll see how that works. Okay, so yeah, so 205G0. Was this spring swapped or are these with the default stems? I'm gonna assume the stems are default. I can tell they're not stickered. These are the batch of Gateron inks for I don't know if I still have the box. Hey, Crane and Bush V2. Thank you very much for the follow, man. Appreciate that. Am I on? I don't feel like I'm on the live view. Hold on. Nope, not this. I don't want that. Why is this like this? Yeah, I'm on editor right now. I want to be on live. No, don't log out. That would not be good. Oh, I do see. Oh, I wonder if me messing with settings is making the stream skip. Sorry, Osiris. I didn't mean to do that. Oh, don't do that. Interesting. I wonder why there's a big delay. I don't think I have the delay turned on stream tonight. I don't know why that would be like that. I'm looking into the analytics here now. I'm not dropping frames. My bitrate seems to be holding up pretty good. Somewhere in like that 6,000 to 7,000 KB per second. Interesting. How do you in Streamlabs make it so that it's not CloudBot, not Store? They switched all this around. They updated Streamlabs and made it so that it's difficult to find everything now. Dashboard, studio, log out. Maybe I'm just missing it now at this point. Oh, there's one other thing we can do here too. Ziggy, what's up, buddy? No, this board is not for sale. Sorry about that. This is actually a this is a client's board. So I am building this up for another user within the community. If you're interested in something like this, though, I do offer my build services to all clients. How'd you get the Lin whale? That was given to me by a friend. Not given, purchased. I purchased it from a buddy of mine. I like it. The Lin whale's a cool one. I'm typically very basic. I've been using, a lot of silvers and blacks on my keyboards lately, but, every now and then I need to throw some color onto my desk. So, yeah, my Lin whale is purple top with a polycarb bottom. Yeah, so typically the Linworks boards are offered in Korea, and then the Koreans oftentimes will sell them to Westerners. I don't know the full details actually of the group buy process for them, or if they've had them. Sometimes they've had like proxies on GeekHack in the past. I don't think they did that for the whale. I could be wrong, but I think they just did that all off on like Korean forums. So we actually have two builds for this board, Ziggy. We've got a set of Gateron inks with a carbon fiber plate that we're going to be building tonight, and then we also have a set of Holy Pandas that we'll be building on a brass plate at a later date. It's either brass or steel. I can't remember if the client got the brass plate Cerakoted because it's silver, and so it definitely doesn't look brass. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, these are going to be the ones that were not spring swapped then. So yes, that'll be interesting to see. I wonder how the spring compares to the Gateron yellow spring, because that is a good spring. Okay. I'm a linear guy, Ziggy. I do very light tactiles or linear switches. So when it comes to linears, I typically use vintage blacks or perhaps a this will be good. This will be a cool board. I typically use vintage blacks or Gateron yellows. I'm very curious with the switch here, the Gateron ink switch. I'm gonna see how I like this build tonight. I am, like I said, I'm planning on building a personal board myself with some Gateron inks too. So hopefully I like this, and we'll be using this again soon. Yeah, let me give you guys a better view. I've used them, but I do not have a board built with them. I've heard really good things about creams actually. When I used them, they were very smooth. I'd say probably one of the smoother, newer linear switches that you can get. The mod that I had tried was some of Artisan's. What did he have? He had creams with, and it was either an Alias or a Zeal housing. Very smooth, really, really nice. Highly recommend those hybrids if you're in the market for something in that price point. It's kind of expensive because those housings are pricey, but really, really smooth. I'd say Gateron yellows are probably one of the better springs for linears these days that come stock in a switch. I really like Gateron yellows. The tangerine switches I've used are quite nice. And then yeah, so it was asked too, tactiles. When it comes to tactiles, I'm like I said, I'm very light. I like ergo clears, I like vintage browns, and I'm a big fan of Alps. When it comes to tactile switches, I like Alps a whole lot. I really am trying to justify purchasing another Topra board. I've not been on Topra in quite some time. I had an HHKB a long time ago, and I sold that personal one that I had off quite some time ago, and it's been a long time since I've tried Topra. I'm very curious at the HHKB version 3. Yeah, I think that might be right up my alley. Depending upon what they do with it, could look very, very cool. Topra is just an easier switch to work with stock, and so if you are modding your keyboard switches and you're really taking the time to build it and do it yourself and make something unique and make it your own, you really have a lot more options with MX. But yeah, when it comes to Topra, there are people that just are like, no other tactile feels as good, and they try and, like the Holy Panda, for instance, it was one of those switches that they just tried to emulate a Topra switch. You know, a lot of people liked it initially because they were like, this is probably the closest thing to an MX Topra switch. I mean, it's one of those things people ask that question, like, what's the closest thing I can get to Topra on MX? It's just different. It's the same thing with Alps. You're not going to be able to ever get anything that is exactly the same as Alps in an MX switch. They're just completely different. So, in my personal opinion, MX is for linears and Alps are for tactiles. Alps and probably Topra. Again, I'm overdue to get on Topra. When I was on Topra, I had an HHKB Pro 2 that was not tuned up really that well. So, ergo clears are really cool. Ergo clears are a little bit heavier and a little larger bump than browns. I like them a whole lot. If you put a good spring in there and tune them up nicely, ergo clears are a really cool switch. You can get like vintage clears too if you want to like meme it. Oh, you can get a lot of cool sickness, you know, feels and everything from that. There's so many different options. I was at the DC meetup and somebody had brought in like a switch tester with like over, they either I think they had like 100 switches on the thing. It was like an overwhelming number of switches. And so that got a lot of, you know, that got a lot of passerbys looking at it, you know, really testing things out and trying out a whole bunch of different options. That's a huge investment to have like 100 different types of one-off switches. Yeah, this board definitely is has got endgame written all over it. It's gonna be really nice when all is said and done. I'm really looking forward to hearing this thing. The aesthetic of it is gonna be so cool too. Look at this, guys. That's going to be beautiful. These are lubed with 205G0. Little warping to my PCB. Not too bad, but definitely a little warping. See if we can get all these switches in here. So I like popping a good percentage of them in as I drop the plate onto the PCB. That way you get good enough points of contact with both the plate so that when you push switches down onto the plate now, the plate doesn't start to droop. Makes it a lot easier. When you have PCB mount switches, I don't recommend filling your entire plate with the switches because it becomes kind of difficult to drop switches in at that point when all of them are mounted. But if they're just plate mount switches, it's generally pretty easy to get them all in there. Just want to take your time and make sure you have good contact points with everything. You definitely don't want drooping plates. With the amount of cutouts that are put on plates these days too, you definitely want to make sure you can get a lot of plate flex going on. If you're not careful, the droop becomes real. Really like the Salamander builds, would like to build one. Yeah, this is my first time actually building one, Ziggy, so I'll definitely give my impressions of it as I go and overall when I finish. I don't do any J Keebs level of reviews at the end of these videos, but yeah, I mean I can say so far so good. You guys missed it. I unboxed this the first initial time we took it out. Unboxing a Salamander is not too special, right? I mean, it comes in a nice quality cardboard box, but it is just a cardboard box, and it just comes wrapped in a bunch of packing material. So, definitely one of those things where, it comes from Korea, and so you can definitely run into, customs agents unboxing it and pulling it all apart, and so it can kind of dicey with shipping, but this one arrived in one piece here to the States and no issues there. But I've definitely had better unboxing experiences before, but I understand why they do it. As like a board that's coming from Korea and going to a lot of different countries, it is difficult to justify spending a whole bunch of extra money on packaging materials when customs agents might just rip it all apart. But the important thing is that it gets you in one piece, and this one certainly did. And then moving on, so far the plates are very good quality. I've got 3 plates that are here with me for this client. I've got an FR4, I've got I believe it's a steel plate, and a carbon fiber plate. And all 3 of them, no real issues with them. The quality of the case is really nice too. I'll take a second just to show that off again here. No real issues with it. The level of quality on the polycarbonate is quite nice, and the weights are absolutely beautiful. You guys can see how nice that brushed look is on this weight. A little bit of a fingerprint magnet for sure, but it's pretty cool. I see the Nathan Kim build command going off in chat. What's up, Frosted Flakes? Thanks very much for the follow too. I missed that a minute ago. So the build tonight is a polycarbonate Salamander with a carbon fiber plate and Gateron ink switches. The switches are lubed up with 205G0, stock spring, stock stem, stock housing. These are the initial variant of these switches. I actually had the guy who tuned these switches in chat. I'm not sure if Kelly's still around, but one thing to note with these switches is that the leaves do have a tendency of being a little finicky. They came out with an announcement that was posted onto Novel Keys earlier today, as a matter of fact, that said they are working on a retooling of Gateron inks. So we'll see what happens with those. Hopefully they don't affect the quality too much. Crane and Bush V2. Do you know of the Molly? Why do I feel like that's a meme? Or just drugs. Do you know of the Molly? No, so explain what the Molly is then. TKC Molly? No, I'm not familiar with that. You could totally be trolling me. I'm taking it at your word that you're not trolling me. Okay, cool. Yeah, let me know. Let's take a look here. Oh, this is a cool looking board. Kind of has like a, what is it? The QXP kind of look. They're not QXP. What is the HBCP look to it? That I think it's got a big bezel on it too. Is that a USB 2.0 port on here? Wow, this is an interesting looking board. Definitely not my cup of tea, so it looks a little bit too high profile, and the angle with it looks high profile but a low angle. That's interesting. Definitely recommend taking a look at that, chat, and taking a look for yourself. It's an interesting looking board. Hey Kelly, thanks so much for the follow, man. Appreciate that, bud. So who designed that? Let's see here. Group I is closed. Closing date just this past week. And March 1st, 2020. So it's a modern geometric replica of the iconic Apple M0110A. That's kind of cool. Featuring anodized aluminum PVD weights and badges and a custom QMK PCB. Oh, so this is the Key Company's first ultra premium board. So interesting. So it looks like they, it looks like this is something that the Key Company has designed themselves. That's cool. Man, I gotta be honest, guys. I don't watch Top Clack these days anymore, and so I have trouble keeping up with all the keyboard news. It's always something going on, you know. It's fast and furious for sure. Hey, Angie, thanks so much for the subscription, buddy. I appreciate that. All right. So I always like to do a quick little test here. Make sure that our stabilizers are sounding good. So we will take off our stabilized switches on this guy here. Make sure everything looks good. My whale is getting undressed. Ooh, how scandalous. I did. Well, no, the one stab I did not lube. There was actually two that I didn't lube. These are just extra. The customer sent me a whole bunch of stabilizers, and so those were just two that were mixed in from before. All these stabilizers are lubed, though. Rest assured. I want to see if we've got everything in the right spot here, so I always Just a general rule of thumb, guys, whenever I'm building a keyboard, I'm such a noob when it comes to lining these things up. I never remember which PCB cutouts go where, and so I always line up Control and Alt as well as my spacebar, make sure that I'm in the right spots for everything. It is not fun, especially if you're building in a place like a build center, like, you know, using somebody else's tools to put something in wrong and then not have keycaps, and then you get home and next thing you know, your keyboard's not built right. Your bottom row alignment is off and it doesn't fit into your case. Not a good spot to be in. I don't know. I would assume so, though, that they are retooled Crane in a Bush. So Stellar, what are my thoughts on the Rama M65B? I really liked the original M65. I will be honest, I don't know what changes he's made aside from, I saw there was a polycarbonate version, isn't that right? That excites me. I like Rama. Rama does a lot of cool stuff. Rama's a fantastic designer. His unboxing experience and all the work and everything he puts into his products is just, it's just of such a high quality. Like, this is a Rama keycap puller. I mean, look at the detail on this. It's absurd. So this is just a keycap puller that he has like branded, and if I can get it to focus, hello, focus, there we go. He's got it little brands with the X and the O. I mean, it's just, and this is a keycap puller, you know? I mean, Rama just goes over the top with everything. So if you have not ever purchased anything from King Rama, I'd highly recommend it. Getting at least something from him is awesome. I mean, he does such cool work. All right, guys, let's listen and see what this sounds like. Let's go ahead and mute this for a second. All right. Here you go, guys. Let me move it a little closer for you. Ooh, listen to that backspace. Yeah, that sounds good. So as you can tell, NG definitely didn't miss anything there on the stabilizers. Yeah. All right. Got some extra switches just in case. We'll go ahead and back these up and put them off to the side. Yeah, I'm excited for this one, guys. I think this one's going to sound really good. You know what I think we're going to do? I think we're going to do OG NCR die subs on this. What do you guys think? Some OG NCR for a polycarb salamander? I think that'll look pretty dope. We will leave the WAB on for right now, just so that I can get this stuff assembled off the bat here. And then yeah, I think some OG NCR will look real good. All right. Let me go ahead. I'm going to take a quick second here, guys. And you know what I haven't done in a while? Let's do Let's do some Intro Fighter tonight. What do you guys think? We haven't launched Intro Fighter in a minute. Hold on. Let's do this. Let's see. Do I have Intro Fighter on? Yeah. Alright, hold on. I'm going to go ahead and get the soldering set up. And chat, go ahead and get some Intro Fighter going for a second here. Let's see who can take out the Pog champ. Max F is up in some Intro Fighter. All right. Oh, come on. Where are the challengers at? To enter into Intro Fighters, all you got to do is just send a message in chat. It can be any message. It doesn't have to be Pog. You guys are in trouble though, because I've got the gun. I got 2 pistols. 2 pistols is a pretty dope setup start here. So teams gets kind of wonky, right? I feel like there's a better way to set up Intro Warriors, and I just haven't looked at it. Cause I'd love it if it kept score for just solos. Oh man, I got 2 kills so far. I'm about to get rocked though. There's lots of people swarming about me. Okay. Alright, I need that, I need that. I wish there was a better way for me to run cables for my fan. Oh damn, Azarez is cleaning house. 4 kills. Azarez is going to be the player of the game. All right. My keyboard feels a little close tonight to the soldering. So I'm going to move this just to be on the safe side so that we don't get any flux splashing on my keyboard. Okay. Real quick, we can take a look here. Got the LEDs all lit up, working to go. I already did test the PCB earlier tonight, guys, too, so. All right. Let's see if Stellar can close this round out. He's got that pistol, that Illuminati. Oh, the Illuminati pistol. There we go. It's real, baby. All right, Intro Warriors, you're out of here. All right. Who won? Was it Ziggy? Was Ziggy number 1 or Azarez? Did Azarez get to 5 or did you guys tie at 4? Yeah, I brought a gun to a sword fight. You can't do that. All right. We'll go ahead and just check here, make sure all the pins made it through. Oh, we got one that didn't make it. The backspace key did not make it. Seems to be the only one so far. So here's the question of the night, guys. Who's been watching Rick and Morty season 4? I'll definitely have to push these switches in as I go because the pins are coming out a little bit, just because the PCB is a little bit warped. Both at 4. All right. Rip. We'll have to have a matchup between you guys at some point later. There must be a winner. All right. All right. So just backspace, I think, is the only switch that we need to fix here. Come on. That one didn't want to come out. There we go. All right. Looking good. Sounding good. Feeling good. All right, guys, let's get some soldering going here. We're set to 675 on the iron tonight. If you guys haven't tuned into a keyboard build stream before, this is the part that always kind of gets a little boring for me. The longest part of the process. I'll explain a little bit as I start though. So, kind of technique for soldering. If you're new and you've never done one of these before, and you're looking at getting started, the main thing, the only really thing that you can mess up when you're soldering is getting switches in crooked. If you have PCB mount switch stems, then those stems and legs will actually help so that won't happen. But if it's just plate mount switches, then you just need to make sure you go slowly throughout the process. What I recommend doing is I will solder in one of the pins, and then I will inspect. I will heat up the element for the other pin, and I will push through so that the plate and PCB really makes a good attachment. That's basically what you want to look at there. You want to just make sure that there's no gaps in between the switch plate and PCB. The other technique to also kind of keep in mind is I always go 4 corners first. That kind of just gets into making sure the plate and everything remains aligned. You definitely don't want... See, that one had a lot of push through there. You don't want things to get kind of misaligned, and so if you move across the plate and don't get the 4 corners in first, by the time you get to the bottom, who knows what status you're going to be in. So there's 2 of the 4 corners. Yeah, hey, there you go, Stellar. Well, hopefully I've saved someone's first build by explaining that tonight. Hey, and now you know for next time, too. Something that can be difficult to learn the first time. But the process of soldering itself is actually really simple. I feel like people get concerned about that, like the actual solder to pins and you know, getting it on the through hole and making that work. I mean, you can get better at it with technique, but there's really not too much you can do poorly if you're doing it right. And that's pretty simple. I mean, there's so many good videos at how to solder through hole. But the basic technique, right, is you take the tip, heat the element up, and I try to have it so that the tip of my iron is on both the pin of the switch as well as the pad of the PCB. And then I do generally a 3-second count, bringing solder into the through hole and onto the stem and onto the pin of the switch and the pad of the PCB. I try and get it, you know, so that really flows nice and evenly onto the pad and covers the pin. You kind of want that. You want that little mini mountain for each and every single one of your through holes. I actually heard, so one of the videos I watched was like, do a 3-second count, and that made it so easy because that kind of gives you, you know, you get that flow going where like, here's your pin and here's your solder, and it's just kind of like, this is the rate at which you push through. So pretty slowly, and you give it like a 1, 1, 2, 3, and it's done. 1, 2, 3, and it's done. I mean, you should be using like, you know, it's like 1.5 to 2 inches worth of solder per stem. So that way you don't get like balls and bubbly joints and, you know, everything else in between. All right, so we'll do the bottom row first. And again, definitely when you're working on some PCBs, you know, not all PCBs and plates are created equal. Definitely one thing to keep in mind too is that if you have any warping with your PCB, you want to use that technique that I said where you do one pin first, and then you go back and you heat that pin up that you just soldered, and you push as you're heating it, you push the switch through the plate and PCB. You kind of just push it all together like a sandwich. And what that then does is it makes sure everything's nice and compressed, and yeah, you're good to go. If it works, you did something right. My first one didn't. That sucks, Ziggy. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Desoldering is a pain in the butt too if you're not using good tools, and if you're having to do a lot of it, and so. It's actually a service that I would have expected people would have utilized more from me. I get very few people sending me just pure desoldering requests. I mean, I have a Hako, what is it, FR301 vacuum. I mean, I can desolder an entire PCB like this in like 30 minutes. It's really quick. So I'm surprised I don't get more requests for that service. Hey Ziggy, thanks so much for the follow, buddy. Appreciate you. And then yeah, by all means, anyone in chat, don't be bashful. If you've got questions about the build process, I'm absolutely happy to help. I've had it on my list to do a soldering tutorial, basically going over what I talk about when I start soldering more times than not on stream. I've had that on my list to do a YouTube video for that for so long, and I've just been so lazy, guys. I apologize. Hey Ziggy, then the subscription. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate you throwing away your Twitch Prime subscription on me. Thank you very much. Alright, so let's see here. Jealous over that. I need to get a desoldering gun. Yeah, they're expensive though. That's an investment for sure. I got one because I was harvesting a lot of vintage switches, and doing a whole bunch of desoldering like that really is time consuming. But the vacuum made that a breeze for sure. Oh yeah, Blue Alps. There we go. That would actually jumpstart me into, if you wanted to send that to me. I hope I don't butcher. Is it Kelta Chaos? If you want to send that to me, that would actually incentivize me to buy the actual attachment for Alps. I've actually got an Alps build that's sitting in my desk here. That I started off with a whole bunch of orange Alps that I'm thinking about changing over to blue, and I just haven't desoldered it yet to do that because the vacuum attachment for Alp stems is actually the pins for Alps is much larger, and so my attachment for my vacuum doesn't fit over them, and so I would have to do it by hand. And so subsequently, that build has just been sitting in my desk drawer because I have no intention of desoldering by hand a whole board. I'm very lazy, so yeah, I'd pony up and spend the $30 for that attachment for my vacuum if I got an Alps desoldering request. And then yeah, absolutely, I'll desolder yours and mine. All right, bottom row is done. So As Stellar said too, you can kind of get things misaligned with builds, and so especially on the bottom row. So I always like to mount a couple of switches into especially the spots on a PCB and plate that can get misaligned, so that you double check it and make sure things look right. And so I know it's kind of difficult to see on stream, but I'm looking right now at Alt and Control and making sure that they're straight, because not much holds those switches in. A lot of bottom rows on plates are like that as well. I don't have an issue on this one though, because these ones do seem to be held by at least 3 sides on it. I know you guys can't see that. The other one that's pretty common is the pipe key, but this one actually, I don't know if you guys can see it. The pipe key is also, why does it not want to focus on that? It'll focus on my hand, maybe. Hello, hello, hello? My autofocus is jacking up. Or I should say jacking off. Huh. There we go. Yeah, you can see there. The pipe key on this plate is actually held in. So, not an issue there. Yep. But if it weren't held on all 4 sides, I would absolutely recommend mounting your pipe key when you're building as well. And after you desolder that in, or after you solder that in, I should say, checking that one too. And then as I go, I always push in all the switches before I start doing another line. So right now I've got all 4 corners and I've got the bottom row completed. And so now I'm going to do the top row. Follow age. I've not seen that command before. What's that one, Stellar B? Don't know if I'll need it desoldered quite yet to finish build, but I'm going for is a Mali keyboard with some mint vintage Japanese Alps caps and blue Alps. That would be an awesome build, man. That sounds really, really cool. And that Mali, man, would you have the compatibility you would need for that? I would suppose, since it's based on the M01, that you would have the compatibility you'd need for that. Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, because that's the one thing with Alps builds. It can be difficult to find compatibility. Yeah, that can be tough. Those TKL sets are definitely in high demand, right? There you go. While we're on the topic of Alps, I'll show you guys my build that's sitting here. And as I mentioned, I've been doing work to it, here and there. It's just not finished yet. There you go. So that's my TGR Jane V2 Alps build. As I mentioned, it's all soldered in. Everything is done on this. There was oxidation on the switches though, and so I have about 10 switches on this that are not working at the moment because of that. But let me tell you, here, and I'll mute music. Let me tell you, it sounds absolutely incredible. Here you go. Alps just sounds, the Alps sounds are just so good. So I really want this to work, but man, it's just been, I need to turn back to it. And I absolutely intend on it. I will return to that build. And it's at the point where it's close, right? It's definitely close, guys. We'll get there. I'm too young to have used Alps before. Feels bad, man. Oh, no. Well, you're You're not too old yet either, man. Alps keyboards are still a thing. They have not gone the way of the Dodo yet. You can still find them. They're not nearly as difficult to find as like some rare one-off switches, like, you know, with like Nixies or something with Cherry MX. I mean, you can pick up an Alps board for not too bad of a price. And I'd highly recommend it. Alps are my favorite tactile for sure. I mean, you heard that. As good as they sound, Alps feels even better. Like, take that creamy sound, and the feels is like, magnifique. I know, Jacob, you had a bunch of them, man. Yeah, the dampened Alps I've not heard as many good things about, although if you get a really good batch and have them tuned nicely, they can be good. But yeah, it's not one of those like Alps Orange, Alps Brown, the Blue Alps, like the Neon Green Alps, but good luck getting those. Those are like harder to find than a Nixie. Yeah, those are the ones that you hear about that people drool over for sure. Yeah, so I've got a bag of Blue Alps in my desk drawer. So that is what I was actually, since I had so many oxidation issues with the Brown Alps build, I was thinking about desoldering that entire PCB that you guys just saw there and putting Blue Alps on it. Again, haven't decided to do that yet. I really kind of want the Brown Alps to work. I mulled over my decision to use either brown or blue in that build for so long, and I ultimately decided on orange. I just really like the sound signature of orange. So Alps is a fairly easy switch to tune as well. They're pretty easy to open, and here's the product I used to lube them. You basically just use a dry lube on them, and the easiest way to do this is you just spray the dry lube in a bag and you bag lube. What I did is I bag lubed the springs for those Alps Brown switches. I didn't have to do anything other than the stock springs that came in it. The factory lube from my variant of them was in good enough condition to where I did not ultrasonic clean them, which is also subsequently why I've had a lot of oxidation issues with the leaves of those switches and why they haven't worked. As I mentioned, I've got about 10-ish or so switches that I still cannot get to work at a consistent basis. The good news is I do have some extra Alps Brown switches that I've been cycling in, and I'm hoping that between those extras I have, I can find a full set that will work. But it's just time consuming. Very time consuming process. So, yeah, you have to be very mindful of the build with Alps. Doing anything custom keyboard with Alps, man, make sure you know what you're getting yourself into before you just find one component like, oh hey, look, I found all these switches. Here we go. Let's do a custom 60% build with Alps. You got to figure out the keycaps. You got to figure out the plate. You got to figure out your stabilizer situation. There's just so many. Are your keycaps and stabilizers compatible? There's lots of different little intricacies to Alps that, man, they never streamlined anything. And so there's some Alps boards that are compatible with cherry stabilizers, and then it's just weird. Like when you get things like that going on, then it's difficult to find combos for keycaps and everything. Yeah, it can be tough. Yeah, those Matthias stabilizers do work pretty well. But like for instance, like if you're picking up, like I know Cherry or Signature Plastics used to make a bunch of Alps caps as well. Like there was the Alps granite set, and yeah, it became difficult working with the stabilizers for that because you had so much different shit going on. I remember I used a DSA granite set with no stabilizers on my shift key because I didn't have one that worked. I had to cut one for it. I had to cut and bend the stabilizer. Man, you really had to mess with it. It is, yeah. So this is a carbon fiber plate that I'm building on this one. Carbon fiber with Gateron inks. This is actually one of the stock choices you could select with this group buy. Carbon fiber was actually offered by the original run. So pretty cool and unique. Not something that you typically see in every group buy. This is actually the first time I've built on carbon fiber before. So I'm very eager to see what it sounds like after we finish this build. Hey, Coinstorm, thank you very much for the follow, man. I appreciate you. So I'm just going through row by row here, guys, and just making sure that I've got good contact between the PCB plate and switches. Making sure everything is pushed through well so that I don't have any gaps. Hey, Proximity, I see you in chat. How you doing, buddy? Oh, I didn't know that the Jane V2 CE was carbon fiber. I thought that was an aluminum plate. I believe mine is coming with aluminum, if I'm not mistaken. I have skipped frames detected over an hour ago. Is it skipping for anyone else, or is it just Ziggy? I think I'm doing okay. My bitrate hasn't dropped. I seem to still be around that 6K. So I'm working on getting some updates for the office this winter, guys. I want to add a little bit more character to the backdrop here behind me. I want to get some artwork on the walls and everything. I've had a couple of cool artists. I've identified a couple of prints that are pretty cool, and if you guys have anything cool, any cool artists that you like their work that make prints that I can buy, absolutely send me a DM or send me some links in chat here. I'm trying to get some cool artwork for my office. I'd say from a style perspective, I like the the darker, more brooding pieces. But I had one that was sent to me the other day that was really cool. It was kind of like a bisection of an old Apple computer. It was an animated piece that was, as I said, a bisection of an old Apple computer, and it had like an astronaut on like a little tether flying through the computer. It was really cool. I'll find a link at a point here for you chat. Yeah, it was a really neat artwork piece. Let's see if I can pick one of those up. So speaking of picking things up, you guys have anything interesting that you're eyeing up for Black Friday? I can't believe we're almost at the holidays here. This year's just gone by so quick. My cables are all over the place. I know that's not very helpful. So this one is from Mech Cables, and this one I can't remember the lining on it, but I think it's a longer coil, obviously, and then no, Mech Cables. I think in mechcables.com or something of the like. It's a Google Forms link actually, and then I've got a clear liner on this one so that you can actually see the gold tipped components. But then the other cable that I use a fair amount, I've got the super memey Yarbo cable. If you guys haven't seen this thing is absurd. The Yarbo cable is ridiculous. I wish there were Black Friday deals for keyboards, right? Zeal normally does some stuff. But I'm eyeing up some camera glass. I'm eyeing up not spending any money. Come on, Kelly, you gotta live a little, buddy. All that money you got coming in from tuning switches for people, man. Live it up. Treat yourself to something nice. So, yeah, I'm looking at, as I mentioned, I'm looking at some camera glass. I'm looking at some lenses for Black Friday. I hope some of them go on sale. I've had 3 lenses in my cart for like the last year and a half, and I'm really hoping that the 24 millimeter GM lens from Sony goes on sale for Black Friday. So that's normally a $1,400 lens, and I do not feel like spending $1,400 on it. But the 24 millimeter is, I think it's a 1.4, and it would be such a cool astrophotography lens, which I'm not really into too much, but I want to get into it, and so that would like incentivize me in a big way to get out there and start shooting nightscapes. I think whenever I look at like a good nightscape with all the stars and everything, get the Milky Way like in perfect focus, man, I think that's such a cool photo. The funny part about that though is looking at those raw, they look awful. Like an undeveloped astrophotography photo is not good. It's like so much of that is done in post-production to make it really pop and look crazy. Yeah, there you go, proximity. Dude, you've got some awesome photographs. Anytime you photograph anything and pop it up onto Flickr, man, so good. That, if I'm not mistaken, what was it? The GH build, right? Oh, that LZGH build was so good. Proximity had this like, all right, let me remind myself. It was What'd you have? It was it black? Was it black with brass? Or was it black on? Was it black on black with a black half plate? I remember it was a half plate, kind of like a. It was a purple, right? A purple half plate. A purple half plate with vintage black switches with purple stickers on it, if I'm not mistaken. Is that what it was? Such a cool build. Yeah, the K-Mac. It wasn't. I thought it was an LZGH. Yep, the K-Mac. Was that a 1.2? Such a good build. Yeah, awesome, dude. I identified a K-Mac. I identified a silver wing keyless K-Mac. I think it was wing keyless. Actually local to me, and I've been thinking about trying to make an offer on that. I haven't yet. But yeah, those are beautiful boards. K-Mac stock, I feel like is so good right now. Like, I mean, it's the time to buy. Like, I don't know why OTD blew up in such a huge way and K-Mac didn't. Like, K-Mac is an historical piece of this community, and I feel like you can still get like a K-Mac 1.2 in that $800 range, or less, maybe even. Yeah, really, really cool stuff. Yeah, Jacob, I don't think you'll find too many Black Friday deals on vintage keyboards. eBay sellers typically don't care too much about Black Friday. It's mostly, manufacturers that get into that. We've been cruising through this build tonight, guys. We're an hour and a half in, and we're almost done soldering. I feel like I've been talking a lot tonight, too. So you said you got a modest setup. What do you got, Proximity? Are you a Nikon or a Canon shooter? Nice. Dude, it's not about the setup. Any good photographer knows, especially with like stills on keyboard art, capturing a keyboard, it's all about that lighting. But yeah, the camera I'm using right now is a Nikon 5300, I think. I switched it out for a lighter body. This is great image. It's perfect, perfectly fine quality for, streaming on. I switched it to Sony recently so that I could start pixel peeping, and man, I've certainly moved over to the dark side at this point. I love it too because my wife is on board with my camera hobby obsession, because she knows anytime I get a new piece of glass or anything fun like that I'm going to want to take a ton more photos of our kids, and so I don't think she cares nearly as much about me spending exorbitant amounts of money on camera gear when she's getting benefit out of it too. I was able to avoid the classic second child syndrome and the second kid not getting any photos of themselves by upgrading my camera setup. I went mirrorless as soon as we had our second kid, and subsequently I have a quite a decent number of photos of the second kid too, which is great. She'll be very appreciative of that. I feel so bad for my sister. She was the second kid when we grew up, and there's so many photos of me, and there's like 2 baby photos of her. Feels bad for all the younger siblings out there. Sorry, you guys. I don't know the pain, but I'm breaking the mold with my kids. Through my impulsive spending and purchases, I'm breaking the mold. Daddy got some new camera, wants to play. Come here, kids, let's take some photos. You know, and I could probably find at this point too, talking about camera lens setups, the camera that I'm on right here, this one that I'm pointing at, I could probably get a really good wide angle zoom for video at this point for this lens. I can't remember what mount I have on this. I think it's one of the, man, I don't even know. I can't remember what mount system was on this camera body. Yeah, you know, it can go either way with the younger sibling. You can get them, you know, where they're really in your face. Not in your face. That's not the right way of putting it. Where they're making sure that they will be heard, or they can be a little more shy and chill and laid back. My youngest is got no problem making sure she is heard. I've never seen a less than 1-year-old throw a temper tantrum. She's 1 and some change now, but yeah, at like 8 months she was throwing temper tantrums, which I didn't think was developmentally possible. We hit the terrible 2s at like 8 months with my newborn. Alright guys, we have got 1, 2, 3, 4 rows down, 2 rows to go. We'll go ahead and take a quick soldering break, push all of these switches through, make sure everything has got good contacts. At this point in the build, it's pretty easy to make sure the switches are all pushed in. You've got so many switches that are soldered in at this point that if you're pushing anything through now at this point, you've probably had issues earlier in your build that you need to go back and remedy. So we're going to breeze through these last 2 rows here. I'm going to stop talking so much. We'll get to the fun stuff as soon as we finish soldering these in. So I asked earlier, I don't think anyone answered me. Who's been watching season 4 of Rick and Morty? I thought the first 2 episodes were really, really good. I didn't touch my head too long there. Hey guys, you want to develop an app? Getting a phone call. Hey, what's up? There we go. Sorry about that, guys. Guys and gals, apologies. Oh, this one. Yep, and this one. Hello? Yeah, that one's in there. I feel like all switch pullers have this tendency, though, to like bend the little prongs at the bottom. Man, every time. It's a snug fit in there. We are just one switch away now, guys, from having this build completely done. There we go. So when I'm done, I always like to give it a quick visual inspection, just make sure that all of the switches, all of the pins seem to have enough solder on them, and touch up any that seem to be a little light. Always easier to make touch-up adjustments when you have the board in the state it's at right now. You don't want to have to take, your whole PCB out of the case and everything at a later date. Always better to get any fine-tuning done now. As I mentioned before, I'm just looking for those little mountains with each one of these pins. I have a tendency more often than not to use too little loop, and so every now and then I'll catch myself having to go back like this and touch it up just a little bit. Better to have too little than too much on, as a general rule of thumb. You can always go back and add a little bit more. Generally, when you're having to add more too, it's a good sign that you're not putting too much heat on your pads for too long, so odds are you won't burn anything out. These PCBs, if you're getting a quality one, they have a pretty high tolerance to heat these days. But if you're building on something that's a little older or cheaper perhaps, you want to be mindful of that. You don't want to touch pads too often and for too long. These things can burn out. I was chatting too much tonight. Chatting too much, too distracted. Okay. Just one more. There we go. Alright guys, so I think it was decided that we're going to do some OG NCR for keycaps tonight. I think that'll look pretty darn beautiful. Okay. Before we get too far, I'm just going to test the PCB again. Okay, you guys can see switch hitter, that's good. Cool. All right. We're looking good here, guys. Close that down. All right. Let me recover real quick. The keycaps I put on here. I do not, Stellar B. So I actually only own. Let me think here. I think I only own GMK Wob at the moment. I have a lot of OG key sets. Haha, thanks. Did you say you're drooling right now, Ziggy? Yeah, the purple whale is a fun one, man. I'll show you guys that real quick. Yeah, the engraving on the whale is so good. All right, but I am very excited to hear how this sounds. All right, guys, I'm going to be working with polycarbonate. So that has a general tendency of fingerprints getting everywhere a little bit more. And this weight has more fingerprints on it. So I am going to handle with care and utilize some gloves for this portion of the process. We can also get rid of this, which is probably coming in a little bit of flux. Wipe my desk mat off and bring our PCB whale or PCB salamander over. Look at that. Always a light touch on these. Make sure you don't get any marks on them. A little wax on, wax off with just a microfiber cloth. Very light touch. Look how beautiful that is. Oof. You can like see my camera. It's so clear. It's such a cool board. And then the aesthetic of this, man, look at this, guys. It's gonna look really good. The green is gonna look so smashing in here. Ooh. Yeah, the salamander's gonna look sweet. So the one thing to keep in mind, obviously, with a polycarbonate case is you do not want to over tighten any hardware into it at all. You are, with many of these components, screwing directly into polycarbonate, and that will strip and crack and break the case so much easier than obviously aluminum or other materials. And so you want to just be very, very careful whenever you're working with a material like this. How often are you live? So Ziggy, I try and keep to a schedule of every Tuesday night. And then I throw in impromptu streams as well. I almost always... It's great goose, baby. I also and I ping Discord whenever I go live with an impromptu stream, and so yeah, absolutely join the Discord, and you'll always get announcements whenever I'm live. But generally Tuesday nights. Tuesday nights is when I try and build every week. I've got lots and lots of cool builds coming up too, guys. I've got some very high profile clients that I'll be building for here within the next couple of weeks. I'm gonna try and sneak in a couple of builds for Rich before the holidays. And he's got a lot of cool stuff. Hey, thanks, Stellar B. Yeah, I know. I have difficulty too with work scheduling and making sure that I'm available for all my streams. So like I said, I've tried Tuesday nights now for a consistent, and yeah, that's been going okay. Tuesdays lately, but I travel for work every now and then, and so I can't be consistent every week. All right, let me find. Give me 2 seconds, guys. I need to find the hardware for the plate. I need to screw this obviously into the. Or is it sandwich mount? Oh, I don't need to find any hardware. It's sandwich mount. Just kidding. I just looked at it. I'm like, wait a minute. Uh-oh, don't mess up. Nope, no intention of messing up. At this point, I don't want to jinx us, but at this point, we're pretty good, guys. We've tested the PCB after doing all the soldering, and so here's the trick with polycarbonate. Get it caught on each of the threads, and then hand tighten it. You obviously don't use drills on polycarbonate or on any keyboards for that matter, but with polycarb, I will use a very, very light touch. I just give it a couple torques for every screw at the start. Make sure we're not going to lose any hardware. So wait, you can strip the screw holes. I think that happened with my aluminum case. The screws just fell in and spin forever. So yeah, I mean, that could be one of two things, right? With a deeper screw hole, you might be using a hex that's too small, and so it might not, or too large, it might not be actually catching the hex. But if it's catching the hex for sure, then yeah, you might have stripped the screw holes. That can happen in aluminum too if you're not careful. But you can see how the screw actually goes directly through and direct into the polycarbonate. I mean, you get like a nice little X-ray of me going in here on this thing. And I just do a very, very light touch. This is good hardware. It's catching pretty well. It's not like, you know, really loose going in. And so I just ever so lightly get these caught. You know, you're not really gonna have these in an environment where it's, you know, undergoing a lot of stress and strain. So you shouldn't really have to worry about over tightening. I've seen people over tighten these even on aluminum cases before, and they end up getting a screw hole popping through. Not a look you want. Does not add to the aesthetic. All right, let's get the weight on, guys. What's nice for these larger screws and the weight, they've got the threading actually threaded with metal. It looks like there's metal actually within these, which is a nice touch. So less of a fear of stripping the actual screw holes with that. Oof, look at this, guys. Oh my goodness. How hot is that? That's pretty... Oof. So good. Here's the side profile. And wait until you guys see this. Oh my God, are you guys ready? Oof. Oh, that's so good. Like if there were ever a reason to leave a keyboard without any switches on it, that is it. Oh my God. Wow. Smile for the YouTube thumbnail. That is incredible looking. Wow, wow, wow. You guys want a quick teaser? See what it looks like lit up? Oh, baby. That looks good. I love how it's not bleeding up top at all. I love how all of the LEDs are staying at the bottom. That's so good. My God. That is a good looking keyboard on the desk. Man, with my cable too, with the carbon cable, oh. That like complements perfectly. Look at that, guys. Oof. All right, let's go ahead and get some keycaps out. OG NCR. There we go. Thanks, Ziggy. Yeah, we're having fun with this one. Oh my goodness, that's gonna sound so good. Yeah, we'll get this thing dressed up, guys. And yeah, we'll be sitting pretty. Do some typing tests on it. I can't wait. Personally, I cannot wait. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so far I recommend. Yeah, we'll see how it feels in finality here soon. But man, it's pretty. We will take pictures of this one for sure. For sure. LKJH. Man, I think NCR looks really good on it too. Having that more muted look to it. Oof. You can make many sets work with polycarbonate. That's a good thing. With aluminum, you have to work with a single color. That's true. That is very true. Polycarb does work with so many different sets. Step caps wickle tickle is the only correct keyboard setup. Step caps for life. Step caps for life. That's like one of like the Rick and Morty episodes where it's like the race war between the pointy nippled and the target chested nippled people. I am the superior race. Step caps forever. Death to all standard caps lock users. You're not compatible with any OG sets then, though. More OG sets use step caps locks than not. That is pretty. Big oof. What do you guys think of that? Oh my goodness. Oh yeah. All right. Time to cue a sound test up, guys. Time to cue it up. All right, let's go over to here. Stop this. Do. Oh, it sounds so good. It sounds so good, guys. I can tell already. It's a big oof. It is a big oof. All right, hold on. Display, display. Oh, I named it here. All right, chat. Let's go over. Oh yeah, hold on. It'll it'll lag for just a second. It should recover pretty quick though. Hold on one second. Let me check my statistics here. Yeah, so it should be back now. It lags a little bit when I turn the display on for the first time. All right, so let me go ahead and show you guys real quick. First, we will do the sound test. That sounds pretty good, guys. We got to do a redo. Let's go ahead and get this right. Man, I'm messing it up. Hold on. All right. We'll finish one. I got to get it right. No. No. We imploded. We imploded. No. We imploded. All right, we might be able to hit 115 though. Let's see if we can redo. Yeah, it sounds good though. It sounds really good. All right, let's see. Redo. I'm slow tonight. They feel really good. They feel really good. So yeah, general feel on carbon fiber is different, right? I mean, it's not something I've typed on before. Man, it's good though. I'd say these stock, which I believe these are stock springs, these are a little heavier than I'm used to. But man, the smoothness. Yeah, the really slow deep press on it, feeling it, it's really, really good. I really love the sound signature too. That's why I'm typing slower. The springs are heavier than I'm used to. Man, we're nothing if not consistent. There's another 100 word per minute. These are linears. Yep. Okay. Yeah, Kelly, I'll definitely let you know. I should have the keyboard for the client who for Zap's build here probably hopefully within the next couple weeks. I gotta see where we're at with that one. I'm actually overdue to follow up with Sam. Hey, Cannibal Warthog, thanks very much for the follow, man. Appreciate that. All right, let's go one more time. What do you guys think? We're gonna go fast as we can on this one. Hey, thanks, Gio. Yeah, thanks, man. It does. It sounds pretty good, I think, and looks pretty good. It's a cool board. Polycarb Salamander. I love that it just doesn't have branding anywhere on front, on top, on the sides. It's just the one Salamander weight on the back. I think it's a really clean look. So which sounds better, polycarb or aluminum? It's two very different sounds. So I can do a couple of side-by-sides here for you. Let me do one more speed test real quick. Redo. My eye's itching. Redo. Oh, caps lock. Oh my god, I imploded. Nope. Nope. Oh my goodness. I'm also being just awful tonight. My fingers are moving slow. I'm slow tonight. Sorry, guys. All right, let me give you a quick side by side. So let's do this. So you guys hear the polycarb. Here's the polycarb. So this one's kind of a combo. We've got a polycarb bottom. So that one's gonna be kind of similar. And then here is, I have an aluminum board here right behind me. Let me go ahead and grab that. Here is an aluminum board. Those sound so good. The alt and control sound incredible. So these are different switches though, obviously too. So that makes a little bit of a difference. I mean, these are vintage blacks. These are Gateron inks. Sound signature is really, really good though. I mean, I think you can't go wrong with Gateron inks for sure. I am very pleased with the sound. I'm going to be building a board myself with Gateron inks for one of my personal boards. Really looking forward to that. It's going to be the unicorn, the TGR unicorn that I'm going to be building with those. So tune in soon, guys. I'm going to have more streams coming up. Thanks for tuning in for this one. I appreciate you guys as always for stopping by tonight. Let me go ahead and check and see if anyone is streaming tonight. Keyboard content. And we'll go ahead and host somebody. Oh boy. Not that it matters, but Teja's up. We'll go ahead and raid him. Let's see here. Let me go ahead. Let's tune in real quick. Let's see what Teja's up to. My timing's always poor. Oh, he's almost done with his build. Nice. Perfect timing then. All right, let's do it, guys. Hey, thanks so much, guys. I appreciate the stream tonight. Yeah, I appreciate you guys tuning in tonight. We're gonna go ahead and raid Teja. Boom. There we go. All right, guys. Whoop, whoop. There we go. All right, guys. See y'all later.